Tonight.
So we're making investments to ensure that we can power the future of our economy.
A first-of-its-kind Crown Corporation and the Premier's first comments on a new location for a supervised consumption site. What we learned from today's State of the Province address. Also tonight, the virus spreads.
Those birds have probably contracted the virus in that open water and are now, unable to move away from it.
Alarm grows as dozens more geese are found dead and dying in Manitoba. Plus, the gift of giving.
And that's where I learned that you can donate to the Children's Hospital.
One boy's plan to make sure other children have gifts this holiday season.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. There's been another mass die-off of Canada geese in Manitoba, this time in Lockport. It comes after another flock in Niverville succumbed to avian flu last week. CTV's Joseph Bernacki visited the latest site and joins us now live with the details. So, Joseph, what's happening to the geese?
Marilee, this latest die-off is suspected to be related to the current strain of the avian flu virus that is rapidly spreading. Experts say more birds and other species will be affected. One that I spoke with tells us our delayed winter weather may be to blame.
Never seen dead geese like this ever.
Rick Schween of St. Andrews says he went to check ice conditions on the Red River Tuesday. Instead of good ice, he saw dozens of dead geese scattered all over.
I noticed a lot of dark spots all over the ice, especially near open water.
Schween likes to snowmobile and spends a lot of time outside. It's surprising to him that his community is also being affected by avian flu, and he's worried it is spreading out of hand.
It's really sad, and the thing is that it also is affecting maybe other avians because eagles and crows and other animals are actually eating the carcasses of these dead geese, and that may spread the flu or the avian flu even further.
Take a look at this die-off near the Lockport Dam. It's one of 3 locations within a 5-minute drive of the dam where geese have been found dead in just 1 week. Frank Baldwin, wildlife biologist with the Canadian Wildlife Service, says it's concerning that other animals and birds are eating virus-infested geese.
One of the unique attributes of this particular virus is its ability to move through a whole lot of different hosts. This year we've got confirmations from the provincial lab for a variety of different fur bearer scavengers, and then also things like bald eagles, crows, magpies, ravens.
Baldwin says the province is testing geese from the Lockport area. Geese in Niverville tested positive. He says our warm falls are not helping hold off the virus, and so it remains uncertain as to how many more birds are at risk.
In cases where we have more normal falls, where we get snow, which pushes birds out more so than cold, then I think the chances of seeing, this mass mortality events is probably much lower.
Baldwin says there is concern that the avian flu virus has become endemic, which means it'll keep coming back, given the fact it's been here for the past 4 years. He says it's a problem that is still going to keep killing birds.
All right, Joseph, seen as it sounds like these scenes may become more common. What is the advice from the province?
It's recommending, Marilee, you do not handle these birds, and for pet owners, of course, it's important you keep your animals away from the dead geese.
All right, thanks for this, Joseph. Manitobans are getting their first chance tonight to weigh in on the new location of a supervised drug consumption site in Winnipeg. Friday, the province announced the facility will be housed at 366 Henry Avenue, just north of the Exchange District. And the first public meeting about it is being held right now at Silo Mission. CTV's Jeff Keel joins us now live from outside that meeting. Jeff, what's the turnout like?
Yeah, the turnout looks pretty good, Marilee. We've been watching people go into the meeting, and we went upstairs to check out the room. It was about a third to half full, but because of the weather, they believe people are delayed, and they do expect a full room tonight. Now, this was supposed to be the first of 2 public meetings, but the Premier saying today that there will now be a third on Monday for businesses in the area who may have questions or concerns about the new location for the supervised site, which is not far from here. And the Premier saying because of that and the added consultation, it could lead to a delay in the opening, which was planned for January now by a few weeks. The Premier defending the decision today to set the facility up here, saying it's like Buckley's. It tastes bad, but it works.
Because we're going to be flexible. We've changed the location already. We've added another consultation session. We're going to continue to be flexible. I'm asking people to be flexible too here. We know we need to take action on drugs. We're doing the law enforcement. We're doing the prevention. We're doing the treatment. We need to have this piece according to the experts too.
Now, as you heard the Premier there referencing that they've been flexible on this because the first plan for the site was on Disraeli. The province abandoned that following public backlash. The Premier also saying today why that this new second location near here is an appropriate fit.
I think this site makes sense from what we've been hearing from Manitobans to date, which is that people support the idea of a supervised consumption site. They don't want it near a school or daycare. They don't want it in a really residential area. It needs to be close to the epicenter, which is basically North Main of the addictions crisis. So this does tick a lot of those boxes.
Addictions and Homelessness Minister Bernadette Smith is expected to speak to the media following the meeting.
Jeff, is the media, like CTV News, allowed to cover this meeting tonight?
Yes, we're allowed in. As I've mentioned, I've already been in there, but we are not allowed to film or videotape inside. And the reason given by the province is to protect the privacy of those in attendance from the public. What we're not clear on is how they're going to prevent or stop members of the public from taking out their phones and grabbing some video.
Yeah, good point. All right, thanks for this, Jeff. During his address today, the Premier also revealed new details about the long-promised Manitoba Crown Indigenous Corporation. Wab Kinew says the corporation will guide and coordinate the Churchill Plus project and help in the consultation with Indigenous communities. He says this corporation will be responsible for leading the talks with the federal government through its major projects office. Half of the corporation's board will be appointed by the province, while the rest will be appointed by First Nation and Métis governments. Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs Grand Chief Kyra Wilson says conversations with the province are still ongoing.
We still have a lot of work that needs to be done. We need to make sure that all of our First Nations leadership feel confident in the Manitoba Indigenous Crown Corporation. And so right now we are still doing that work as First Nations leadership and ensuring that everyone's voice is heard at the table and what the creation of this Crown Indigenous Corporation, what that will look like.
The government plans to introduce legislation in March to formally establish the corporation. American booze is set to return to Liquor Mart shelves tomorrow, but only for a limited time. The Premier says the response from Manitobans has already exceeded its expectations.
Just this week, I learned that the only thing more popular than taking American booze off the shelves is putting American booze back on the shelves.
The province's backstock of American alcohol went up for sale to private vendors, restaurants and wine stores Monday. The Premier says within the first 3 hours, $1.9 million worth of booze was sold. The general public will be able to get its hands on the American liquor starting tomorrow, as roughly 100 U.S. products will return to select Liquor Mart stores until Christmas Eve. Manitoba Liquor and Lottery says up to $500,000 from the sale is going to cheerboards in Winnipeg, Brandon and Thompson. With zebra mussels now spreading in Clear Lake, Parks Canada says it will make a decision on future boat use in the new year. According to a Parks Canada newsletter, the goal is to have a decision on watercraft management for Clear Lake by February. Motorboat use was prohibited on the lake this summer following the discovery of the invasive species back in November 2023. Parks Canada says testing now shows zebra mussels are reproducing and are likely to spread throughout Clear Lake. It also warns larvae could travel downstream through Wassaman Creek and into Little Saskatchewan and Assiniboine River systems. Because of this, Parks Canada is now redirecting its efforts to prevent the spread and protect the other lakes and water bodies in Riding Mountain National Park. Just 1 week into Winnipeg's annual holiday check stop program, and already one driver is charged with impaired driving. In all, 20 drivers were found to be under the influence of alcohol or drugs. 7 drivers failed drug screening tests, and 11 drivers registered a warn for their blood alcohol level. Winnipeg police stopped 613 vehicles in the first week of its holiday check stop program. Every driver stopped at a check stop is now required to take a breathalyzer and drug screening test. Last year, approximately 17% of all traffic fatalities in Manitoba involved impaired driving. The force is reminding drivers, if you plan to drink or consume cannabis, don't drive. Instead, choose a safe alternative such as a taxi, transit, or a designated driver. Holiday check stops will continue throughout this month and into New Year's. Winnipeg's winter route parking ban took effect last Wednesday, and enforcement is well underway. The city has already issued 1,007 tickets and towed 689 vehicles. That's an average of about 167 tows and 114 tickets per day. So tonight, a reminder, that ban is in place on designated streets every day between 2 and 7 a.m., regardless of whether or not there's snow on the ground. And speaking of snow, let's bring in Colleen Brady, because you are tracking a lot of it tonight.
There will be snow on the ground for sure in Winnipeg, but even more on the ground in places like Brandon and Dauphin. It's not just falling in those areas, it's drifting too. Winds are going to pick up in the southwest and most regions in southwestern Manitoba, right down into south central areas, right along the international border. Still under a snowfall warning tonight. So coming up, I'll show you how much snow is expected to have fallen. By the time this all wraps up, I'll show you when that is expected to. And a look ahead for the snowfall tonight and into tomorrow for Winnipeg, and then what comes next. Let's take a look right now first, though, through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. With the snow coming down on the Esplanade Riel, there it is -9 degrees. With the wind chill, it feels like -16 with those northeast winds at 21 kilometers an hour. The pressure is dropping and the humidity right now, Marilee, is 89%.
Thanks, Colleen. Tragedy in Manitoba's far north tonight. Mounties say a child has died after being hit by a vehicle while sliding on the snow. According to RCMP, a group of kids in Shamattawa were seen holding on to the bumpers of moving vehicles. Investigators say a 6-year-old boy was hit when a vehicle backed up. He was brought to the local nursing station but later died. Mounties say the investigation is ongoing. A Winnipeg man is facing a slew of charges tonight after being accused of allegedly sexually assaulting a minor at his home last weekend. Police say 2 youths met with a suspect last Saturday at his home where they consumed alcohol and drugs. After one youth left, police say the other was physically and sexually assaulted. Officers went to the home the next day after the youth was reported missing and arrested a 54-year-old man. He's facing charges including invitation to sexual touching, assault by choking, and other offenses. Police say some of the charges are connected to another alleged incident back in October involving one of the 2 youths. It was a busy year at the Canadian border here in Manitoba. Canada Border Services Agency says between January and the end of October, more than 1.2 million people traveled into Manitoba, and some were trying to bring in things they shouldn't. Border guards made 341 narcotic seizures, including illegal cannabis, opioids, cocaine, and methamphetamine, 20 firearms, 45 prohibited devices, 375 firearm parts or magazines, and 855 prohibited weapons were also seized. Not to mention more than $394,000 in cash suspected to be proceeds of crime. That's more than 3 times what was seized at the border last year. Work is underway to preserve a massive art piece underneath Portage in Maine. The future of the 400-foot concrete mural was left uncertain when the city announced the eventual decommissioning of the underground concourse. It was crafted by late Canadian contemporary artist Bruce Head in 1978. All year, Head's widow and a professor at the University of Manitoba have been working to scan and digitize the mural with the goal of making it accessible in virtual reality. Since then, researchers have managed to dig up several never-before-seen photos from the mural's creation, and they intend to incorporate those into the final project.
So we've begun inserting those into the virtual reality recreation, and so it's no longer just walking through the concourse. We're actually offering kind of a whole historical element of it, and many of these images have actually not been seen or unearthed for probably decades at this point.
The U of M's Jason Shields says the hope is to have the VR experience along with a scale replica of the mural ready for the public by April. Eventually, he plans to have the digital model available online so anyone can appreciate it. A North End resident is bringing some Christmas cheer to his community.
We just do it for the love of the community, and this is my sacrifice for it.
For the past week, Trevor Sanderson has been camping out at the corner of Pacific Avenue and Main Street. He's braving the cold day and night to collect food and toy donations for the North End community. It's all going towards a free Christmas dinner with Santa he's hosting on Saturday.
It's free for everybody, anybody that wants to show up, young or old. And you know, it's trying to get some of that community feeling back in you know, some of these areas that need it. And you know, I'm happy to do something like this.
Sanderson is expecting more than 700 people to stop by the dinner. While he's collected most of the food donations needed, Sanderson says he's still looking for donations of toys. If you want to help out, Sanderson says you're welcome to stop by his campsite. His dinner is scheduled for this Saturday at 4 p.m. at 591 Pritchard Avenue. Christmas is quickly approaching, but for some kids, they won't be able to spend the holidays at home. Instead, they'll be at Children's Hospital. And now they'll have more toys to play with after a grade 4 student stepped up. CTV's Harrison Shin chatted with him in Whitemouth today.
Hello. Hi.
Welcome to Whitemouth, where Ian Heinrichs, a grade 4 student at Whitemouth School, is printing his Christmas magic.
I own a 3D printer and I want to print a whole bunch of little things like this to give to the Children's Hospital.
Ian plans to make 300 of these mini toys for children who will spend their holidays in Winnipeg's Children's Hospital. Ian and his dad were in a mall in Winnipeg and a passerby asked if they wanted to donate a teddy bear to the hospital. His dad said yes, but Ian went 299 steps further.
When I found out, I just wanted to do it.
Midsummer or so, Ian asked for a 3D printer. And he said, well, you can just buy it for me and I will just pay you back. And I said, absolutely not. You're going to save up enough money to do this for yourself if that's what you want.
And he and his other 2 brothers saved up $500. When Leah heard Ian's idea,
I was so proud of him in that moment. I think I teared up a little bit. You know, he's always been somebody that thought of others, but he was really thinking kind of big picture.
With these mini toys, Ian wishes one thing for kids in Children's Hospital.
Maybe just Merry Christmas.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Whitemouth, Manitoba.
Coming up, defending Canada's North.
It will be operated here from Canada by Canadians, so it really is a sovereign capability.
Canada's plan to bolster security in the North in the face of an American strategy to exert more influence in the West. That's next.
When you give a child a winter coat, you give them the means to go to school on a cold day, a chance to play outside, because no child should be freezing cold. Donate to Coats for Kids, proudly sponsored by United Way Winnipeg and CTV.
Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil lost 63 cents. The Canadian dollar dropped slightly. Gold added $18.50. The TSX gained 74 points. The Dow Jones fell 179 points, while the Nasdaq ended the day 30 points higher. New data tonight indicates Winnipeg's housing market is expected to remain steady in the new year. The median price of a single-family detached home is expected to rise 2% by the end of next year, up to just over $460,000. That's according to Royal LePage's 2026 market survey forecast. Meanwhile, the median condominium price in Winnipeg is forecast to increase by just 1%. The report notes consistent demand and stable buyer confidence is behind the modest price growth. The Insurance Bureau of Canada says severe storms that swept through the prairies in August caused more than $235 million in insured damage. The storms on August 20th and 21st included golf ball-sized hail, torrential rain, strong winds, and several tornadoes in Alberta and Saskatchewan. The Insurance Bureau says the hardest hit communities included Brooks, Alberta, Radisson, Langham, and North Battleford in Saskatchewan, and Portage la Prairie right here in Manitoba. It adds wildfires and hailstorms this past summer caused roughly $725 million in insured damages. The U.S. has released its national security strategy, and critics say it's hostile to Canada and the democratic world. Judy Trin reports.
3 government ministers present to announce a nearly $3 million investment in military satellites.
These are not just defense assets. They are nation-building assets.
The satellites will be built and operated in Canada and used to surveil the Arctic and potential incursions from foreign threats.
It will be operated here from Canada by Canadians, so it really is a sovereign capability.
The technology will be used as part of NORAD, North American Air Defense, even as the Trump administration pulls back support of Western allies in its new national security strategy. The White House document calls for the U.S. to restore American preeminence in the Western Hemisphere and demands other nations make the U.S. its partner of choice while discouraging collaboration with others.
We are two sovereign states. And what the United States of America chooses to do through its national security strategy is its choice. What we intend to do here with a new Canadian national security strategy is our choice.
Why do I think it's dangerous?
Canada's former ambassador to NATO says the strategy could be viewed as hostile, that it lumps Canada in with Latin America, positioning it as a vassal state existing only to further American interests.
It's a kind of coercive economic nationalism throughout the region, focuses on buy American. We're going to push out competitors out of your markets because we're going to be the preeminent power in the region.
The 30-page document only mentions Canada once. The strategy seeks to weaken China, but also calls for Europe to stand on its own 2 feet. The Kremlin says the American security strategy aligns with Russian policy. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
In Ottawa, the government has tabled a new bill designed to crack down on domestic violence, sexual blackmail, and child predators. It's called the Protecting Victims Act, and it will make sweeping changes to the criminal code.
Today, with the tabling of the Protecting Victims Act, we have an opportunity to better protect kids who are at risk of exploitation and to address very real concerns about violence against women, including violence that could be fatal.
The proposed changes would classify murderers committed by an intimate partner as first-degree murder. Also, the distribution of pornography created by AI will be banned, and mandatory minimum penalties will be restored for some sexual offenses involving children. A Toronto woman whose dog attacked and seriously injured a child last year will have to serve time behind bars. Patricia Syarek was sentenced to a year in jail and 3 years of probation today. She's also barred from owning a dog for 10 years. She pleaded guilty to criminal negligence causing bodily harm and failing to prevent a dog from biting a person. The court heard she previously was ordered to keep her dog muzzled in public, but instead took it to a playground that was off limits to dogs and removed its muzzle and its leash. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with the Pope today near Rome. Meanwhile, talks to end the war in Ukraine continue, and Zelensky says he won't give up any more of Ukraine's land to Russia. Rena Roy reports.
Ukrainian President Zelensky traveling through Europe this week, today meeting with Pope Leo near Rome. The two waving from the balcony of the papal residence after calls from Pope Leo for a ceasefire. As Russia continues its barrage on Ukraine. Zelensky has also met with the leaders of the UK, France, and Germany, discussing their approaches to the latest version of the U.S. proposed peace deal to end Russia's war. Zelensky saying he cannot and will not concede any more land to Russia, which was a key part of the Trump administration's draft 28-point peace plan and the main sticking point in the talks. Trump lashing out at European leaders, calling them weak and Europe decaying, urging Zelensky to accept the deal in an interview with Politico, saying Russia has the upper hand.
He's going to have to get on the ball and start accepting things. You know, when you're losing, because you're losing.
The negotiations come amid ongoing Russian attacks. Russia claiming its armed forces have taken over 2 more Ukrainian settlements. In Zaporizhia, at least 11 people wounded when strikes hit this residential building.
Ukraine has also reported strikes against multiple Russian military targets. Russia saying its air defenses destroyed more than 100 Ukrainian drones overnight. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Donald Trump has changed his mind. He is no longer calling for the public release of the video of the boat strikes in Venezuela. Some are calling a war crime. Trump now says that decision is up to the defense secretary. Christiane Cordero reports.
Today, President Trump is leaving the door open to the possibility of attacking on Venezuelan soil in an effort to bring down the country's authoritarian leader, Nicolás Maduro.
I don't want to rule in or out. I don't talk about it.
While behind closed doors today, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Joint Chiefs of Staff General Dan Kane, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio are briefing top Democratic and Republican lawmakers known as the Gang of Eight. One topic on the table, the second strike on a suspected Venezuelan drug smuggling boat in September. The second strike killed 2 survivors of the initial strike, a move some legal experts say may have violated international law. Some Republicans today are now joining Democrats calling for the video of the second strike to be released.
We got to get any videos that do not in any way compromise mission integrity down there. Just get the stuff out there.
The only thing that can bring more clarity to the American people is the full release of the unedited tapes. Plain and simple.
President Trump last week told ABC's Selena Wang he supported releasing the video.
Whatever they have, we certainly release, no problem.
But the president now denies ever saying that and is reversing course, telling our Rachel Scott yesterday it's up to Hegseth to decide what to release, if anything.
Are you committing to releasing the full video?
Whatever Pete Hegseth wants to do is okay with me.
The administration says it has now carried out 22 boat strikes, killing 87 people. It has released video showing select clips of each of those strikes. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
A court has granted the U.S. Justice Department's request to release grand jury transcripts from the sex trafficking case of Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell was Jeffrey Epstein's longtime companion. But the judge says people shouldn't expect new information from them, as the materials don't identify anyone other than Maxwell and Epstein. A request to unseal records from Epstein's sex trafficking case in 2019 is pending. In Bolivia, 16,000 fossil footprints are providing some fresh insight into dinosaur behavior. A team of researchers has discovered the footprints belong to a dinosaur group that included the Tyrannosaurus rex. Paleontologists say this find represents the highest number of theropod footprints recorded anywhere in the world, and they call it a remarkable window into the lives of dinosaurs around 66 million years ago. But humans have often threatened the tracks. For decades, farmers threshed corn and wheat on the plateaus, and quarry workers blasted rock layers.
The stretch we've been on hasn't gone how we'd like it to go. But there's still so much season left in.
Still to come, the Jets look to get the homestand started on the right foot. Your hockey report is next.
And by the start of the long-range forecast in Winnipeg on Thursday, cloudy, a high of -12 degrees. Then we drop off to -19 Thursday night and stay put there throughout the day on Friday under a mix of sun and cloud. Even brighter and a little colder on Saturday to start the weekend, a high of just -21 degrees, dropping to -27 overnight, up to -18 for a high on Sunday. Chance of flurries up to -15 by Monday.
You can start marking your calendar because the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 2026 schedule is now out. The Blue and Gold opened the regular season on the road on June 5th with a matchup against the Calgary Stampeders. The home opener is set for June 11th versus the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The Bombers will take on their rivals, the Rough Riders, during the Labor Day Classic September 6th in Regina, followed by the Banjo Bowl September 12th here in Winnipeg. Season tickets are also now available. You can visit bluebombers.com for more details. The Winnipeg Jets are hoping to kick off a 4-game homestand on a high note tonight.
We're still right in the mix, I think, for how poorly the results have gone over the last month and a little bit. We're still right there. And we feel like there's some more levels to our game that we need to get to. And we had a good practice day yesterday where we talked about some things, and we're going to look to go implement those into the game tonight. And
the Jets are facing off against the Dallas Stars tonight. Dallas is currently second in the Central Division and boasts an 8-0-2 record in its past 10 games. Despite a series of losses over the past few weeks, Jets head coach Scott Arniel says he's confident the team has what it takes to stay in contention.
And I think that part of our history here is that we talk about staying in those close games, whether you're up one, down one, not allowing the game to get away. And much like what happened in the first period in Edmonton, we've had a few other games, and the game in Buffalo, that all of a sudden it gets to 3-0, and then all of a sudden now you're not in it, you're chasing it the whole time. And it's been a pretty good trademark of ours in the past, is that we stay in these games, and whether it took us, it took us 2 periods to get the lead back, or it took us 3, or pull the goalie, whatever it might be, but we stay close and we found a way. And I think that's obviously one thing that we have to do more of.
Puck drop in Winnipeg tonight goes at 7 o'clock.
The Hockey Report, brought to you by Santa Lucia Pizza. Check out the game day special.
A popular Winnipeg concert and cultural venue has announced the cash crunch it was facing has eased. Early last week, West End Cultural Center announced it needed to raise $50,000 by the end of the year to pay bills and keep staff in place. In a news release yesterday, the center announced it's raised nearly $70,000 in donations. That support puts its short-term financial health in a better state and represents a 500% increase in annual donations. The release goes on to say the long-term goal for the center is to develop a foundation of donors to better maintain long-term sustainability. Toy Mountain still has room to grow to help families in need this holiday season. Thanks to your help, the Salvation Army managed to raise $55,000 in donations and nearly 5,000 toys from toy drives over the weekend. But the organization still needs your support, noting donations so far are down compared to this time last year. You can drop off donations at Access Storage, Scotiabank, IKEA, Toys R Us, and Winnipeg Fire Paramedic stations right up until December 19th. We have more details and a list of drop-off locations up on our website. For all those details, just head to ctvnewswinnipeg.ca.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady is back now with your snowy Skywatch forecast. I see some shoveling in our futures.
That's right. I know the snowmobilers have been waiting anxiously for an awful lot of snow. If you're in the southwest, your bet is better that you're going to get a lot more snow there than we're seeing here in the southeast. But certainly we are getting the snow here in Winnipeg and in the surrounding areas. But it's out for much of the southwest, still under that snowfall warning tonight. A yellow snowfall warning still in effect for places like Dauphin and Brandon, and then right down into the southern Red River Valley there, south central regions closer to the international border, including places like Morden and Winkler. You'll get a few centimeters there yet tonight. Total snowfall amounts, Environment Canada figures will come in the general vicinity of 15 centimeters, although some places seeing more. One viewer, Jim, reached out to me this afternoon. He measured already 20 centimeters out at his yard, and those areas in higher terrain in the Parkland region expected to see in excess of 20 centimeters of fallen snow. By comparison, we may see 2 to 4 centimeters fall in Winnipeg and the surrounding areas tonight. Further to the east, northwestern Ontario, you might get grazed by a touch of light snow, but you can see why, because the track of this system takes the snow further south, just south of the international border, and really enveloping much of Minnesota there in various forms of precipitation. Meanwhile, back on our side of the border, back in Manitoba, the snow not only falling across the south tonight, up into west central and northwestern parts of the province, but a little bit in parts of the northeast expected tonight as well. But you see that band starts to narrow in the overnight hours. We'll see snow across the south overnight. That's the expectation. But early tomorrow morning, that snow is going to end in the southwest. You'll see some sunshine into the day across the region. Not so sunny just yet here in Winnipeg tomorrow morning. We should still see some snow in the Red River Valley for the morning commute. But the model's a little conflicted when it comes to timing. Most seem to agree with the futurecast that the snow is going to wrap up in our region here in the southeast in the morning. Another model strongly suggests the afternoon. We'll see how it plays out. This suggests here that we'll see some sunshine across much of the south by late in the day, maybe a little bit before the sun sets, before this next wall of snow starts to cross the Saskatchewan border into Manitoba as we get into a Thursday morning. Now we'll see cloudy conditions for us here in the city, but that snow traveling into central and northern parts of the province for the most part, although we may see some slip into the south as well. Certainly seeing that tonight for Winnipeg again. 2 to 4 centimeters is possible yet tonight. -12 should be around our lowest temperature, but then the temperature drops throughout the day tomorrow down to -17 late in the afternoon. afternoon, hoping by that point to see more of a mix of sun and cloud late day. Partly cloudy tonight in Churchill and Gillam. Light snow continuing both tonight and tomorrow through Island Lake and Thompson. Temperatures holding pretty steady between tonight and tomorrow. In the northwest tonight, highest snowfall amount should be around Flin Flon and the Paw. 2 to 4 centimeters. Snow continuing in Norway House with a high of -17 tomorrow. That snow coming down across the southwest. Most areas still under that snowfall warning. Brandon, you could see 5-10 centimeters yet tonight, 5 centimeters for Dauphin. Again, look for that snow to wrap up in the region tomorrow morning, then brightening up in the afternoon. Most areas heading to -15. And snow tonight, not as much here in the southeast, and it will continue tomorrow with temperatures dropping in Winnipeg and the surrounding regions. And a little bit of snow perhaps tonight in northwestern Ontario, bright and sunny there with daytime highs between -12 and -14. Our first weather photo takes us to Morden, Manitoba, and a look at Betty's yard. This is the snow piling up on her bird bath and feeder. And this next photo takes us up to Norway House Cremation. That shot is from Conrad. Send us your photos to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
My advice to anyone would be to read those provisions carefully.
You heard her. Check the fine print. What you should be on the lookout for before you rent your next vehicle.
It's time to light things up for the holidays, and we want to see all your hard work. All those nutcrackers, lights, and trees can help you win a $500 gift card from Red River Co-op and have the chance to show off your holiday house live on Your Morning Winnipeg with a visit from Ainsley McPhail. To enter, head to our contest page at ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. Fill out the form and submit your photos. Good luck.
People are planning to rent a car over the holidays, and they should take note. As Pat Foran reports, you want to make sure the insurance you're getting is adequate because there might be unexpected limitations.
Ellen Economopoulos of Toronto took a road trip in Alberta with her children this past summer. She rented a vehicle, but unfortunately the windshield cracked after being hit by a piece of gravel.
On the way back to Calgary, I noticed that there was a big loud sound in my windshield.
Economopoulos had car rental coverage through her credit card, but when she submitted a claim, it was denied because she was told the vehicle she rented was too expensive.
I didn't know about that, and I was a little bit shocked because I said, well, at least I'm lucky that it was only a windshield.
The insurance company, Global XL, said vehicles not covered are any vehicle with a manufacturer's suggested retail price, excluding all taxes, over $65,000 Canadian. The vehicle rented was a Dodge Durango RT 2025 with an MSRP of $73,695. As such, we are unable to cover any expenses in relation to your claim.
Are we supposed to ask how much the car is worth? I don't know. Whose job is it to tell us that?
My advice to anyone would be to read those provisions carefully.
The Insurance Bureau of Canada says whether it's a credit card or your own auto insurance policy, there may be limits on the type and value of vehicles you're allowed to rent. You really need to check the policy.
It may say $50,000, it may say $60,000. Each insurance company may have a different limit.
You can contact your insurance company to see if you can purchase additional coverage that will cover more expensive rental vehicles.
If you drive a Honda Civic and you pay a premium for a Honda Civic, it makes no sense to go and rent a Lamborghini with Honda Civic insurance.
Economopoulos had to pay $600 for the windshield repair, but is relieved that was the only damage done.
I rented so many cars and I didn't know that. And that's actually kind of dangerous because I could be liable for so much more.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Canada has approved the first drug designed to treat postpartum depression. The drug is made by Biogen and is sold under the brand name Zurzuvae. It promises to start treating symptoms of depression in as little as 3 days. Health Canada estimates 1 in 5 women experience depression or an anxiety disorder during or after pregnancy. It's said we are what we eat, but it seems what we eat can affect how well we age. Melissa Adan explains.
According to the experts at the Mayo Clinic, a few simple tweaks can help you age better. As you age, your metabolism naturally slows, making it harder to maintain a healthy weight. That slowdown also makes it easier to lose muscle mass if you're not proactive. Get enough protein each day from foods like chicken, fish, eggs, tofu, or beans, and do regular strength training exercises to help preserve muscle and keep your weight steady. For women after menopause, bones are another important area of consideration. Hormonal changes can speed up bone loss, so include plenty of calcium-rich foods such as milk, yogurt, cheese, or leafy greens, along with vitamin D sources like fatty fish or fortified foods to keep bones strong. So the next time you sit down to eat, look at your plate and make sure it's got both muscle-building protein and bone-strengthening calcium. With this Medical Minute, I'm Melissa Adon.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
Get ready to rock. Not one or two, but 3 rock bands have their sights set on our city in the new year. Spotlight is next.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting the Crash Test Dummies Jingle All the Way Holiday Tour.
Well, here is a show that will have you ready to storm into summer. Punk rock band Rise Against is heading out on a Canada-U.S. tour with 2 shows set for our city. They're scheduled to play the Burton Cummings Theatre March 21st and 22nd. They'll be joined by fellow punk rockers Destroy Boys. Tickets go on sale Friday at riseagainst.com. A Canadian rock band just announced its first tour in 3 decades with a stop here in Winnipeg. Triumph is coming to Canada Life Centre on May 5th as part of a tour celebrating its 50th anniversary. The hard rock band has a long list of accolades, including being inducted into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame and selling over 15 million albums worldwide. It has partnered with a nonprofit and will be giving a portion of ticket proceeds to support free music education. Tickets go on sale Friday at livenation.com. And if all that rock isn't enough for you, the Stampeders are coming to the Burton Cummings Theatre on June 4th. And of course, you've likely heard of that 1971 hit, which topped the music charts in Canada for weeks here. The rock band trio has since won multiple Juno Awards and was inducted into the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame. Bassist Ronnie King passed away last spring, but not before urging his bandmates to continue touring. Showtime that night is 7:30 p.m. Tickets go on sale Friday through Ticketmaster. Prairie Theatre Exchange kicks off 2 weeks of hilarious holiday shows this evening. And keep your calendar open because you might just want to see this one twice.
Would you look at these two? I can hear their hearts pitter-pattering from all the way across the store. Looks like love.
It's called Outside Jokes Holiday Musical Extravaganza, and no 2 shows are the same. That's because the talented actors will be creating a unique holiday rom-com musical every night based on audience suggestions.
In this situation, we have an outline of a storyline based on Hallmark movies. But the process tends to be a little more, we include the audience a bit. And by that, I don't mean we bring anyone up on stage. Don't worry. We're not bringing people up on stage, but we get suggestions from the audience, and we get their feedback through laughter and their reactions and everything.
The show runs between tonight and December 21st. And get this, PTE is offering ticket discounts for each subsequent show you decide to go see. You can plan to go by heading to pte.mb.ca for tickets or call PTE's box office. Your primetime lineup starts at 7 with E-Talk and The Big Bang Theory. MasterChef Canada is on at 8, and at 9, catch The Traitors Canada. And The Weakest Link wraps it all up at 10. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
The CTV Primetime lineup is brought to you by Strictly Amish, exclusively in Arborg, Manitoba.
Time to call Mr. Plow? What names made the shortlist for Winnipeg's fleet of snow clearing machines?
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
Well, the normal high for this time of year for the city is now -9. Our highest temperature today in Winnipeg was -8 degrees. Now, the temperature tonight drops to around -12. Then tomorrow, it falls to -17. That's why you see that asterisk. That means the temperature will do the opposite of what it will normally do. Snow will end tomorrow afternoon. Then it gets a little colder.
Thanks, Colleen. Remember when the city of Winnipeg decided it was going to name its plows and asked for online submissions? Well, Winnipeggers responded with an avalanche of potential names, and the city has plowed those possible names down to a short list, and it wants you to vote for your favorites. There are 51 names in all to choose from. Only 12 are going to be selected as winners, though, so look them over carefully. Among the notable submissions, Winnie the Plow, Sleetwood Mac, which I love.
That one, yeah.
Plowy McPlowface.
Yeah, I like that one.
How about Emperor Plowpatine?
Okay.
Or just Mr. Plow from The Simpsons.
Right.
Several names include puns on local athletes, including Melt Stiegel,
clever,
Grady Oliveira, and Mark Shovel.
All good.
You can go to engage.winnipeg.ca to vote for your favorites. That poll, by the way, is only open till December 31st, so get your votes in. Some of those plows will be needed over the next bit.
I'm sure they will.
Have a good night.